Today, during my tutoring session, we went over techniques that you can use to help you analyze passages and then respond to questions about them. So, one of the passages that we were looking at was this one right here, Analyzing O Pioneers. So one thing I mentioned was that the best thing to do to start is always to read what's often a little introduction. This will give you background knowledge of what exactly the passage is about. It's often an excerpt from a book, and so you'll be able to get a bit of a summary on the book and the characters and where exactly this excerpt is being taken out of. Next, after you have some background knowledge, I mentioned that it was always a good idea to go ahead and preview the question. In this case, it's discuss the meaning, and it's asking about the character Alexandra and her personal qualities. By previewing the question, you'll have a bit more of an idea of what exactly to be on the lookout for while you're reading the passage. So that's why this is always a good second step to do after having read the introduction. And then finally, after doing that, we can just go straight into reading the passage. So this would be here, step 1, preview, step 2, look at the question, and step 3, go ahead and start reading the passage. And while you're going through, it helps to make annotations. So since we're looking for qualities, we're going to note things such as, oh, look, intelligence, that can be considered a quality. We can see things here, considerable force. And then as we continue on, when all was said is done, but nothing with his own skill and foresight, he had proved himself a man. And here in his daughter, Jern Bergson recognized the strength of will and the simple, direct way of thinking things out. So by annotating like this and pointing out a couple things from the passage, once you come down to the question over here, you'll be better prepared to respond to it because you already have a couple of hints from the passage that you've already picked out, little tidbits of information. So those were some of the strategies that we discussed when you're just trying to approach and answer a passage. Another thing we talked about was how in writing, it wasn't so much more important about what your answer is as how it is how you support it. And in this question, it explicitly asks, cite text examples to support your ideas. So regardless of the exact qualities that we pick, what's more crucial is supporting that with evidence. So one of them we found was, for example, the idea of strength of will. And in order to support that, we had to pool evidence from this part right here. In his daughter, Jern Bergson recognized his strength of will and the simple, direct way of thinking things out that had characterized his father. So this part and this part answer this part of that question, shares personal qualities with her grandfather. And the next part, how will they help the Bergson family survive after her father dies? You can see things here about how when you look at the qualities of her grandfather, he had brought him to come up from the sea himself and built up a proud little business with no capital. So you can see how his skill and foresight helped him achieve that. This would be the textual evidence you would use to support your answer that Alexandra's sharing of those qualities will help the Bergson family survive after the passing of John Bergson. And so those are just some strategies and some ways of approaching these analyzing passages and then responding to a short answer question such as this.